Did you ever wonder where the fabled lost city of Atlantis might be hiding? What if I told you that the answer might be hiding in plain sight, in a region that's so out of the way that even the most inquisitive minds have overlooked it? Atlantis, a city lost in time, wreathed in mysteries and legends. But recently, whispers of its possible location have begun to surface, connecting it to the bewildering eye of the Sahara. This enigmatic structure, which mirrors Plato's detailed description of Atlantis, has ignited the web. The uncanny similarities between this natural marvel, located in the remote parts of the Sahara Desert in Mauritania, and the fabled city are too significant to ignore. But it's not just its eerie resemblance to Plato's city that's confounding. The Eye of the Sahara is geologically unique, a place with no counterpart anywhere on our planet. Hidden in the vast expanses of the Western Sahara Desert, this anomaly should, by all rights, be celebrated as one of the natural wonders of the world. To delve deeper into the mystery, I stumbled upon an ancient Roman geographer, Pomponius Mela. Roughly 2,000 years ago, he crafted a detailed map, distinct from the debated map of Herodotus that I mentioned in a previous video. This ancient Roman map intriguingly has a notation Atlantia or Atlantier in the precise region of the Eye of the Sahara. You might ask, why does this matter? When we align the ancient descriptors with this region, the puzzle pieces seem to fit almost seamlessly. Concentric circles. Atlantis was described with concentric circles, much like the distinct rings of the Eye of the Sahara. Connection to the sea. Plato mentioned an opening towards the sea in the south of Atlantis. This detail matches a southern passage in the Rishat structure, marked by ancient saltwater pathways. Surrounding terrain, a vast rectangular plain was said to stretch around Atlantis. Similar terrains envelop the Rishat. Unique stones, the colors of black, red, and white described for Atlantis, resonate with the stones found in the Rishat. If this wasn't intriguing enough, I recently unearthed an English document from 1851. It spoke of Mauritania's abundant gold reserves that catered to Europe before the Americas' discovery. Could this hint at the wealth of Atlantis? Drawing the pieces together, the Eye of the Sahara increasingly emerges as the prime candidate for the lost city's location. Skeptics might have dismissed it in the past, but these newfound revelations demand a second look. In historical records, we find mention of King Mansa Musa of the Mali Empire, which encompassed modern-day Mauritania. Musa wasn't just wealthy, he was legendary. He controlled gold mines that even today would account for over half the world's supply. Interestingly, ancient Mauritania, the region we're spotlighting, wasn't just rich in gold. There's evidence suggesting it had vast reserves of elephant ivory, another hint pointing towards Atlantis. Why? Because Plato's description of Atlantis talked about numerous elephants. Even today, ancient cave art around the Rishat structure depicts these majestic beasts. Now, Atlantis' central island was known to possess hot and cold springs. Many dismiss the Rishat structure as the lost city because of its barren appearance today. However, a study from the late 1990s might sway them. It highlighted the Rishat's hydrothermal complex nature. If you're wondering, hydrothermal essentially means hot water springs. Consider this. The landscape of this region, 11,000, 12,000 years ago, was drastically different from today. A time when Atlantis was believed to thrive. But let's dive deeper. Atlantis was said to be surrounded by towering mountains to the north. Even if the nearby Adrar highlands don't fit the bill, there are the mighty Atlas Mountains. Intriguingly, the mountains were named after the first king of Mauritania, Atlas. Coincidentally, or not, the first king of Atlantis shared the same name. Rivers flowed through Atlantis, and scientific studies reveal an ancient river, the Tamanrasset. This river once meandered from the Atlas Mountains, passing through the eye of the Sahara, reaching the Atlantic. Its existence? Roughly 11,700 years ago, aligning eerily with Atlantis's purported timeline. The Sahara of that era bore little resemblance to today's desert. Satellite imagery unveils evidence of massive water erosion, distinct from mere wind-driven patterns. These erosions seem to emerge from the Mediterranean, flowing through the Sahara's lowest points, hinting at a cataclysmic water event. Prepare to be astounded. A study unveiled an enormous undersea landslide off Mauritania's coast, dubbed the Mauritanian Slide, which existed around, you guessed it, 11,000 years ago. This slide likely resulted from a tsunami originating from the east, heading west, directly in the path of the Richat structure. To wrap our exploration, consider this. With all the evidence stacking up, is it really a leap to connect the Richat structure with the legendary city of Atlantis? Destroyed around 11,600 years ago. If that is true, then the proximity of Egypt to Mauritania would make this claim all the more plausible. This connection becomes even more compelling when considering that the ancient Egyptians, who had a rich history of naval prowess, could have had trade and communication links with this ancient city-state. Moreover, the Sahara itself holds more mysteries that suggest an advanced civilization once thrived there. For instance, the numerous and intricate petroglyphs discovered throughout the desert. These ancient rock drawings depict various scenes of daily life, animals, rituals, and even what appear to be maps. Could these be the remnants of a written record left by the Atlanteans? But let's not forget the cultural and architectural feats of the ancient Egyptians themselves. The precision and design of the pyramids, the advanced knowledge of astronomy, and their profound spiritual teachings all point towards a civilization that had access to advanced knowledge. Could it be that this knowledge was a legacy handed down from the Atlanteans? Plato's account of Atlantis mentions it as a hub of global trade, with vast canal systems and an intricate network of roads connecting the entire island. If Richat is indeed Atlantis, then it's conceivable that remnants of these infrastructures are still buried underneath the Saharan sands, waiting to be uncovered. Also, the notion of Atlantis being a highly spiritual and technologically advanced society aligns with the mysticism and wisdom that the ancient Egyptians are known for. There are multiple accounts and references in ancient texts and oral traditions about a golden era of enlightenment, where both spirituality and technology coexisted harmoniously. Further evidence supporting the Richat-Atlantis connection lies in ancient myths and legends from surrounding regions. Tales of a lost city, destroyed by water, exist in multiple cultures around the world. Notably, the Dogon tribe in Mali has detailed knowledge of the Sirius star system, despite lacking any modern telescopic technology. They attribute this knowledge to ancestral teachings from aquatic beings. Could these beings be the Atlanteans? In conclusion, the puzzle of Atlantis is multifaceted, with each piece of evidence intertwining with another, painting a tantalizing picture of what once was. The Richat structure in Mauritania offers a compelling argument, grounded in geographical, geological, and historical evidence. While definitive proof is yet to be found, the clues are all around us, waiting for the curious minds to connect the dots. The tale of Atlantis may not just be a myth, but a chapter in our shared human history that is waiting to be fully understood. And from there, the direction would change to southeast as you continue to follow the African coastline. Now, if you opted to follow the coast to the right, you'd journey northeast along the southern coast of Spain and enter the Mediterranean Sea. But here's the catch. If you chose to venture straight out into the open ocean, you'd have no known endpoint or landmark to guide you, and it would be a perilous and daunting journey without the technological advancements of modern seafaring. And this is where the point about the strong currents becomes crucial. The Canary Current, which flows southwest right outside the Strait of Gibraltar, would naturally carry ships towards the west coast of Africa, where the Rishat structure, or the Eye of the Sahara, is located. Thus, the statement about Atlantis being in front of the Pillars of Hercules can easily refer to the general direction where the currents would lead a ship traveling out from the Strait of Gibraltar. Another piece of evidence that supports the Sahara as the location of Atlantis is the size. Plato describes Atlantis as being larger than Asia and Libya combined. Now, if we understand Asia to mean Anatolia or Asia Minor, modern-day Turkey, and Libya to mean the region west of Egypt, then the described size of Atlantis fits comfortably within the expanse of the Saharan region. Moreover, ancient texts often use hyperbolic or exaggerated language to describe places of legend, which means Plato's descriptions might be an interpretation or retelling of even older accounts. This could explain some of the discrepancies or seemingly exaggerated details in Plato's account. The geological and historical data supporting the Sahara's transformation from a lush, green paradise to a vast desert adds another layer to the argument. If, indeed, a great catastrophe caused massive floods, it would align with Plato's narrative of Atlantis being submerged and lost to time. Lastly, the idea that ancient civilizations built upon naturally occurring structures is supported throughout history. From Machu Picchu in the Andes to the rock-hewn churches of Lalibela in Ethiopia, humans have consistently chosen to enhance, modify, and build upon unique natural formations for their settlements and religious sites. So, when considering all these factors together, the Rishat structure, or the Eye of the Sahara, emerges as a very plausible candidate for the lost city of Atlantis. Whether or not it truly is Atlantis remains to be seen, and more research, exploration, and excavation would be needed to make any definitive conclusions. But the evidence is certainly compelling and paints a tantalizing picture that warrants further investigation. Indeed, the description provided by Plato could be interpreted in various ways. Many people automatically assume sank beneath the waves to mean that it submerged deep beneath the ocean. However, Plato's detailed account of Atlantis post-catastrophe, with its descriptions of reeds, grass, and barriers of mud, paints a picture more akin to a tidal marshland or a swampy, sediment-choked coastal area. If we consider the possibility of a tsunami or a massive flood event, the aftermath could very well be a landscape changed dramatically, with sediments deposited, creating muddy, marshy regions. This doesn't necessarily mean the entire city sunk to the ocean's depths, but rather that it was buried or obscured by sediment and rendered uninhabitable and non-navigable. The sudden influx of water and sediment could change a once thriving city into a muddy, swampy wasteland. The Sahara region, with its past as a green and watery landscape, might fit this description. If a massive flood or tsunami event occurred, it could have deposited a significant amount of sediment across the region, burying or obscuring any signs of the advanced civilization Plato described. Over time, with changing climate conditions, the area could have transformed from this muddy, reed-filled marshland into the vast desert it is today. Moreover, the mention of the area being no longer navigable by ship could be an indication of the muddy sediment's effect on ships, and not necessarily an implication that the entire city was submerged beneath deep waters. Ships could get stuck in the mud, making navigation impossible. This description is in line with what happens in areas affected by tsunamis, where sediment carried by the waves often makes navigation difficult or impossible. The clues from Plato's account When pieced together and interpreted alongside geological and historical data, continue to make the Eye of the Sahara a compelling candidate for Atlantis. The Rishat structure, with its unique concentric design, proximity to ancient trade routes, and its alignment with Plato's descriptions, makes a strong case for being the lost city, or at the very least, warrants deeper investigation.